what's up, Delaware, and welcome into another sports update live here on DETV. Nick Alessandrini, as always, joined by Jason McCall. Jason, last time we talked was Monday night, Eagles and Vikings, and we're going to start with that here in a minute. But how you feeling? A couple of days since we last talked, but a big win for the Eagles on Monday.
Yeah, a big win for the Eagles. I'm looking at the camera directly because I'm going to have to eat crow tonight because I actually did pick the Vikings and did the skull clap and everything, but they were the ones sent back on their ship back to Minnesota to sorrow in Lake Minnetonka themselves. So it was a great game, all-around game effort for the Eagles. I'm impressed. I'll say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Impressive win for the Eagles on Monday night. We'll dive into that here in a second. We'll talk about that recap. We'll also get through the rest of some of these Week 3 matchups quickly upcoming, and then we'll end with our Thursday night preview. Steelers and Browns tonight on Amazon for Week 2 of, technically Week 3 now, of Thursday night football. So some great stuff to get into. Obviously, Jason, you had a nice big day yesterday. A lot of HBCU stuff going on with you lately. Just talk a little bit about that before we dive in.
Yes, so everyone, if you're not familiar, this week is HBCU week. It was an effort started a few years ago by Ashley Christopher and a few others, and Mayor Pazicki, to highlight the importance of HBCUs in Wilmington, but also to showcase the talent that comes out of HBCUs. And I'm a proud alum of an HBCU, Delaware State University. Also currently attending Morgan State University right now as a Bear. So it's a very important week to highlight and showcase the talents and everything and what we bring to the table from an HBCU standpoint, but also just a great camaraderie and great fellowship and having fun here in Delaware. So I'm wearing my pin tonight to show some love to the foundation. If you want to know more about HBCU Week and the other upcoming events, you can go to hbcuweek.org and you can click on the Wilmington 2022 link and you'll have all the other information that you need. But also catch them in Orlando at Disney World October 7th, 8th, and 9th.
There you go. All the information you need right there from Jason. And that wasn't planned on the agenda. That's just how much knowledge Jason has on all that information. So again, a lot to get into the rest of the week, and I'm sure you've got some stuff planned through the rest of the weekend. And in fact, Hampton is now in the CAA with Delaware. They'll be making the trip to Newark on Saturday to play at the
that. They are in the CAA
at
now.
the Tub. So it's going to be interesting. And Morgan State. So Morgan State and Hampton going to be playing the Hens here in Newark in the next couple of weeks. So some matchups to look out for as well. But let's dive in to some football. Monday night, we were on the air before the game talking about the Eagles-Vikings. On paper, one of the toughest matchups for the Birds all season long. Didn't show on Monday night. Fantastic performance from Jalen Hurts, who has now jumped up that MVP race into the top 5 or 6 players there to keep an eye on. It was 24-7 at the half, and that's the way the score remained. 0 points scored in the second half. What a game, though, for Darius Slay. 2 interceptions, could have had more. Avonte Maddox had a pick himself. Hurts, 333 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. The interception, though, not really his fault, off the hands of Kenneth Gainwell on a screen. 57 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Jason, we got to start with Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts is in the MVP conversation. Let's really give him his credit. It's an MVP conversation. He was playing well towards the end of last season as the Eagles went on the run to get into the playoffs. So I think he's just building from what he really started to do last year. And I think the sky is the limit for Jalen Hurts. And I look at Jalen Hurts this season, I see Lamar Jackson 2019. I see the type of grasp he has on the offense, on the team overall. I see a similar type of injury, type of vibe with the Eagles right now. So, and we know with 2019 is when Lamar won MVP. So I see those same type of, I'm not saying he's going to win it right now, but I'm starting to see that type of energy from him, and it reminds me of Lamar back in 2019.
And, it's funny you say that, Jason, too, because I'm a Jalen Hurts ticket holder for MVP as well as Lamar Jackson. And that number's back in 2019 at the start of the year when Lamar won it. The same odds as Jalen Hurts at the start of this year before the season. So way back there. Now he's already up, shifting up the odds, obviously. But both of them had the same odds coming in. Lamar in 19 won it. Jalen Hurts here in 2022. We'll see how that ends up a little bit later. But again, I saw that when I was watching. 8 different players caught passes on that Eagles offense. They got a lot of pass catchers. Devontae Smith, Jason, you were preaching. You got to get him the ball. Can we see him tonight? That's what you were asking for on Monday. 7 for 7 for 80 yards. So 7 targets, 7 receptions for the former first-round pick.
Yeah, very happy to see Devontae finally get into the Florida offense this year. And There's a sign of things to come when you have everyone clicking on all cylinders. You have Miles Sanders, you have Quez Watkins catching deep bombs. You know, the Eagles' offense was clicking on all cylinders. So I would say, I think they can keep this going. I really do. The running backs have to stay healthy, though. That's the key. The running backs have to stay healthy.
Yet to do that yet, but hopefully he'll be able to do it here this year.
I think the skill positions, other skill positions are fine, but the running backs have to stay healthy. If running backs will stay healthy and the offensive line can hold up throughout the whole season, I did give a prediction of them winning the NFC East and representing the NFC in the Super Bowl anyway.
That's right. Again,
ahead of our season preview. So, so far so good, but knock on wood, no, it's early in the season.
Again, it's very early. Again, just 2 weeks in for the Eagles. We mentioned it, 3 sacks. They had 3 interceptions. The defense really showed up for them, as I had hoped they would when we were making our picks on Monday night. That's what I kind of alluded to, and they did just that. Now, again, we'll get to their matchup here a little bit later against the Commanders in Week 3. Carson Wentz playing against the Eagles in a return against the Birds. So how good are the Eagles, Jason? I know you just mentioned it. You have them winning the NFC, had them in the season preview. We both had them winning the division. So after 2 weeks, are they even better than maybe you thought they would be?
I don't think they're there just yet, but they have made strides. I think they're still going to win the division regardless. But I think that Monday night's game showed the NFL that they're for real and they're ready. Oh, yeah. And it's just showing that how great of a coach Sirianni actually is. I'm going to give him some credit. I know I was a big opponent, a big skeptic of him coming in. What was his numbers guru guy going to do with the team? But he has the pulse of the team. The locker room is light, loose, great energy there, and the X and O's show up on the field. So he might early consideration Coach of the Year.
He's definitely up there. Again, him. I think I like Dan Campbell a lot this year coming in. He was one of the guys down the road in the odds that I liked as well. But Sirianni now may be the front runner after 2 weeks for Coach of the Year, as Jason just alluded to. We talked about the Eagles. They look really good. The Vikings were supposed to be one of those teams maybe at the top of the NFC coming in. A lot of hype around the Vikings in the offseason. Fantastic Week 1 showing that even backed up the hype that everybody had. Week 2, way down, 7 points for that offense. Did not expect to see that. Again, that over-under was up near, I believe, 50 or 48 on Monday, way under there out of the Minnesota Vikings offense. But what do you think the biggest competition is in the NFC for the Eagles? I know we're just through 2 weeks. The Vikings, as I mentioned, were supposed to be up there. Made that look pretty easy in that win on Monday. Who stands out to you in the NFC as maybe a team the Eagles are going to have to look out for?
They're going to have to look out for, of course, Green Bay. Always Green Bay until Aaron Rodgers no longer plays for the Packers.
The first team that comes to mind for you in the NFC?
I would say because right now the Packers, as long as Aaron Rodgers is in that backfield, they're always a threat. Of course, the Buccaneers. I mean, that goes without saying. The Saints. Had a bad showing against the Bucs, but I still say the Saints.
Dealing with some injuries too. Kamara, Jameis.
And of course, you can't remiss while mentioning the Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl champion Rams. And maybe the Cardinals, but we'll see.
I'm not the new beta came out last week. We remember that for Call of Duty, so we'll see how they do.
But yeah, but right now they are definitely the toast of the NFC. Oh, can't forget the Niners either. The Niners will always be
that's
strong.
where you say the Eagles. I mean, when you think about it, it's not as tough, right? When you look over to the AFC and you've got the Bills and the Chiefs and numerous other teams like the Ravens and Dolphins. These are teams that you don't think about, but they're all up there that could win at the Chargers. There's so many teams in the AFC and the NFC a little bit more open, at least for now through 2 weeks. I'm with you. I think the Rams are going to be up there. I think the Niners with Garoppolo, that new confidence that they had, I think that was mental with the whole Trey Lance thing. Not necessarily that Jimmy Garoppolo is that much better than Trey Lance. It's just the fact that the team knows, what he can do. He gets the ball into the Stars' hands, lets them make plays. I think the Niners are going to be Team Rams. But I think the Vikings are still going to be a team you have to worry about in the NFC.
Oh, Vikings still definitely a team to worry about still. I think, like I said, they're new coach, new offense, new everything. Few growing pains. They really just got smacked in the mouth on Monday night. There's nothing really but that. I don't think that's an indictment on their season or what they've done in the preseason prior to this point. So they just got smacked in the mouth by a better team on Monday night.
And before we move on, again, Kirk Cousins now falls to 2-10 on Monday Night Football. That is that's hard to do, even as a statistic.
He is not Mr. Monday Night Football.
That is not. Prime time in general, but Kirk Cousins, not a Monday night. Some horrific throws against the Eagles.
The better question is, how has he gotten 12 Monday night games?
I was going to say, I mean, anyone, not that he has gotten 12 Monday night games, but I'm sure the list of players that have that bad of a record on primetime and Monday night didn't get that many. So I'm like, the other guys that you're going to look at, I'm not sure who they were. We'd have Dennis maybe look it up a little bit later on in the show, but I'm sure those guys are maybe 1-4 or 1-5. Nobody's playing 12 games and having a record that bad unless you're a guy like Kirk Cousins who can do it whenever you're not in primetime or in the playoffs. So the Vikings, again, still going to be a team you look out for in the NFC. But the Eagles, they're the headline. They are, again, maybe one of the top teams, at least so far here through 2 weeks. Let's go to some of these Week 3 matchups here, Jason. We'll get started, or we will dive into the Thursday night preview. We'll spend most of our time there ahead of tonight's matchup with the Steelers and the Browns on Amazon. Let's just start at the top with the Texans and the Bears. The Texans 0-1-1, the Bears 1-1. Now going back home, Justin Fields, 28 pass attempts in 2 games. Darnell Mooney basically hasn't, I mean, he's been on the field, but he might as well not have. Those stat lines, I think I had more receiving yards than Mooney last week. He had a catch, I think, for -4 yards, so I had 0. That makes me the higher receiver. But it's been a struggle for both of these teams. Davis Mills dealing with some injuries this week. Dameon Pierce and some others for the Texans struggling to get going a little bit. Texans-Bears, what stands out to you in that one?
Next.
I knew you were going to say that. That's pretty much it. Justin Fields, the headlines here are, is Justin Fields going to take a next step? Because through 2 weeks, he's been abysmal.
He is. Again, new coaching.
And now you're at home
new
against
offense,
the Texans.
you're at home. I mean, they did win week 1. I mean, even despite the numbers.
Yeah,
so,
and the monsoon, you really didn't throw that
so
one.
you're not going to throw a ball in that type of weather. But
Exactly.
I believe that just let the reins go. Let it fly.
Who you got in the winner, Bears or Texans?
Bears.
I'm going to go with the Bears. They're the home team here.
I didn't have a score, just Bears.
I'm going to go Bears. Let's keep it moving. Raiders and Titans, 2 teams that are a pretty surprising 0-2 maybe when you looked at it coming into the season. The Titans, the #1 seed in the AFC last year. They are 0-2, have not looked good throughout both of those ball games. And the Raiders played well against the Chargers, lost 24-19 in week 1, and then a tough loss, up 20-0 on the Arizona Cardinals to come back and beat them last week. So both of these teams 0-2. Raiders a slight favorite on the road here. I'm going with the Raiders. Titans don't look good to me. I do think Derrick Henry will get a little bit more back on track as the season progresses. It's still Ryan Tannehill, still a lackluster receiving core. The defense has dealing with some injuries, lost some players for the year. Give me the Raiders.
You can't replace A.J. Brown with a rookie.
And they're trying. He got some targets on Monday night against the Bills.
You can't replace A.J. Brown with a rookie. Let's not also remember, Julio's not there this year either. They really have no receivers. And so Ryan Tannehill. I mean, maybe he can go back to receiver. He played in college.
That's right. He could. Then throw Malik Willis out there, right?
Willis out there.
Best
And he looked good when he came into the game.
I thought he looked
in garbage time.
I do too.
I think Tannehill's time is running short.
I'm with you there, but I think we're in the minority. I don't know why that is. I think we're in the NFL and the coaching staff. I think they're going to stick with Tannehill. I'm with you 100%. I'd give him a few more games. You know, I think we talked about this Monday. You know what you're going to get with Tannehill. If it continues like this for the next 3, maybe 4, I'll make it.
They cannot lose another game this early in the season. I don't think they can go 0-3, and he's still a starter.
Yeah, I mean, the odds of making the playoffs as an 0-2 team, I mean, you wouldn't think they'd be that low, but they're very low. It's tough to sometimes make a playoffs, even just through 2 weeks. We'll keep an eye on the Titans.
If they lose Sunday,
Raiders.
I'm going Raiders as well. So if the Titans lose on Sunday, Malik Willis has to be a starter by at least week 5, week 4, week 5. He has to be.
I'm with you there. Hopefully we see him in a little bit. He's shown some flashes. He's going to be an exciting player to watch.
I saw him in preseason.
Growing pains.
Awesome.
I mean, obviously you don't expect him to come in and light it up, but just getting him those reps, getting him in that offense, I think would help out Tennessee. We're both going with the Raiders there. Let's keep it moving to a team that I know Dennis loves, the Indianapolis Colts. They're back at home in Indianapolis this week. Big underdogs to the visiting Kansas City Chiefs. Matt Ryan has not been good so far this year. Does that change here in week 3 at home with Pat Mahomes coming into town?
Just this year? Oh.
But
no.
It's the Super Bowl.
28-3. No, but Matt Ryan, they brought you here for a reason, man, and right now you're not doing it. The weapons are there. I don't know what you're not doing right now. I don't get it. And they're playing against the Chiefs?
At home.
In Kansas City?
No, excuse me, in Indianapolis. Chiefs are coming on the road, yeah.
Chiefs. Yeah. But give them HBCU love, one of the best players ever come out of HBCU. linebacker for the Colts, Shaq Leonard.
And I'm telling you, they need him back desperately. That defense has not been the same, giving up 24 to the Jaguars. He's so big in the run game and et cetera, just leading that defense, signal caller. They need him back out there. They need him bad. It has not been good for the Colts. Again, the week 2, no Alec Pierce or Michael Pittman. That really had an effect on that offense. They looked horrible. They are supposed to be back this week, both of them full practices all week till the moment we're speaking right now, Thursday night. Hopefully that'll give them a little bit of a boost, but I'm all Chiefs here. And again, Colts, Nick Foles is the backup in Indianapolis.
Is he going to save another team?
Dennis were talking about this before we went on the air. Frank Reich and Nick Foles, they've got a good chemistry.
Great relationship. Great
relationship.
Proven.
Maybe we'll see something happen down the line.
Old Saint Nick going to save the day again.
Now let's jump to one of the bigger matchups in Week 3. And Jason, what is the one thing you always say about that city down in South Florida?
The city of Miami is undefeated.
It's undefeated. The Bills are undefeated as well, so they're going to travel to Miami to take on the Dolphins. Jason, on paper, I mean, whatever you want to look at this one, it's maybe the best matchup of the week. The Bills have been good to say the least. They've looked incredible, odds-on heavy favorites to win the Super Bowl as it stands right now. Offense looks like it cannot be stopped at all. Josh Allen throwing touchdown passes at will. Stephon Diggs, so far statistically the best receiver in the NFL through 2 weeks. But now they get a team in the Dolphins that have 2 impressive wins under new head coach Mike McDaniel themselves. Bills, though, just under a touchdown favorite on the road here in this one.
Yeah, I mean, the Bills are who we thought they were. Yeah. The Bills technically should have been in the Super Bowl last year. Let's be honest, folks. We know that they were
to talk about
that. They know they're the best team in the NFL last year, from start to finish, and they're just doing what they did last year, blowing people out, 10-digit wins. 10+ digit wins. Beating people by more than 10 points almost every game.
Making it look easy.
They're making it look very easy, and Stephon Diggs, he's living up to the hype that he's always had. Even in high school in Maryland, he was the top receiver in Maryland, one of the top receiving recruits in the country. He has #1 wide receiving recruit in the country. Went to Maryland, got injury prone there, slid in the draft, and he's made his money. Minnesota sit down in Buffalo. He's a funny guy. He watches a lot of social media. He did the genuine dance in the end zone. That was hilarious. So he definitely keeps his ear to the streets and knows what's going on. But that team is just clicking everywhere. They're even scarier than what they were last year.
And like I said, I think the Bills, in the playoffs, anything can happen. You might be able to beat a Bills team in a game or so. I think they're going to dominate the regular season. I think they may go 15-2. I think that's the kind of team they are, especially with the lack of pressure in the regular season. It kind of seems like they're on cruise control already. I know it's early. I think it might take I'm not saying they can win the Super Bowl. I do think they should be the favorite, as they are, but anything can happen in the playoffs. I think they're going to run through the regular season. Give me the Bills. And I've been so impressed. One of the teams that I had on our preseason show was Miami Dolphins. I love Mike McDaniel. I loved what they were going to do coming in, and they've looked really good, and I'm happy for them and excited that they look this good. Makes me look a little good. But I think the Bills are going to get the win here soon.
I hope the Bills actually win, because if they lose in Miami, then they'll come to Baltimore week 4 angry. So
that's true. That's
need the Bills to win the game.
But again, Miami, the city is undefeated. This is going to be an interesting one Sunday.
And Miami's defense for the last few years has actually been very good. They have all pros at corner and safety. The front seven is pretty solid. They have a very good defense. Now the offense is finally catching up.
That's the thing, right? If they can get going, it's going to be a good game. Again, Bills under a touchdown favorite. The line sitting at 6. That tells you what everybody thinks of the Bills. Almost a touchdown favorite on the road. I think we're both going with the Bills in that one. Now let's go to a matchup in the NFC North quickly. The Lions and the Vikings, another underrated game for this Sunday. Could be a shootout. Lions 30+ in both games. The Vikings looking to rebound after that tough matchup on Monday night. Vikings heavy favorites here in this one, 6-point favorites at home in Minnesota after the loss in Philly. I think this is going to be a good one, Lions and Vikings.
I'm taking the Lions in this game. The momentum right now, early momentum with the Lions, they believe. They believe, and you can see it on the field, the way they play, the way the game is coached, everything they do throughout the week, lead up to the game and including the game. If you're not watching Hard Knocks, guys, they're great on Hard Knocks, and yeah, I like the Lions in this game.
This is one of the tougher ones for me on paper. Just looking at it, I think this is going to be a great game. I'm with you. I'm going to go with the Vikings, though. Just at home. I think they rebound nicely. I think it's going to be a shootout. To me, it's that Detroit defense just maybe not there yet. They've shown a little bit, but Aiden Hutchinson did not practice again today. Hasn't practiced all week. That would be a big loss for them. They've been torn up a little bit in the secondary. Olawarye also banged up. We'll see if he plays the number 1 corner for Detroit. But I love what the Lions are doing. The offense is clicking, as you mentioned. Amon-Ra, we talked about him on Monday. One of my favorite receivers in the league. Jared Goff looks good when you give him some weapons, as you alluded to earlier this week. But I'm going to go with the Vikings in a close one in a shootout. If I had to, both of them over 30. I'm going to go 38-32, something along those lines in that game. That'd be a lot of points. Hopefully you got some fantasy players in that one. Now let's jump to a historical, almost rivalry game. These teams don't like each other, Jason. You know that. That's New England and Baltimore. Ravens going up on the road, traveling up north to take on the Patriots in Massachusetts. 1-1 are both of these teams. Jason, you're Mr. Raven here. Ravens actually 3-point favorites on the road. Small line there. What do you see happening here on Sunday? What are you looking for?
The way that the Ravens blew the game in the fourth quarter will not happen again this week. Prideful team. They know that you can't give away games like that in the NFL at any given time, whether it's early or late in the season. And I think that the Ravens still have enough firepower to have a great season, but also I don't think New England has enough firepower to actually beat the Ravens. That's the difference. And number 12 isn't wearing a uniform up there. It's number 10. It's a big difference.
And number 10 is dealing with some injuries as well. Jacoby Myers, he didn't practice all week. That's his main go-to guy. So Mac Jones is banged up. Maybe no Jacoby Myers as well this weekend for the Patriots. Just something to think about. He is going to be questionable in that matchup. Give me the Ravens all day. No offensive coordinator. We had those questions coming in about the Patriots, that offense. Matt Patricia, Joe Judge, who's calling the plays. I don't even think Mac Jones feels great about the offense this year. You can listen to whatever, he can say whatever he wants. I'm not high on the Patriots at all. I got, a lot of friends up there in New England. They're panicking already. Fan base isn't used to this type of, of losing without Tom Brady. It's only a few years removed since Tom. They had a good year last year, made the playoffs. They're struggling up there in Massachusetts. Give me the Ravens in this one. Bengals and Jets. The Bengals 0-2. Jason, Joe Burrow deleting social media after that second loss. No more Instagram. No more Twitter. Time to focus in. Bengals get their first win on the road at the Jets this week?
No. I said it. No. Bengals go to 0-3.
Joe Flacco.
It's bigger than Flacco. That defense is playing inspired football.
In the Meadowlands, too. Game at home.
And it is at MetLife. It's Bengals will be 0-3 after Sunday.
Bengals will be 0-3. Jason McCall, another bold one there. Bengals a touchdown favorite on the road. But let me tell you, they were given 8 to the Cowboys last week and lost outright. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. That defense hasn't been good. Joe Burrow's turned the ball over. Joe Flacco, University of Delaware Blue Hen, gotta love it. Last week, Flacco and Henderson, the only active quarterback for his school and a quarterback of a former school to throw for 300 yards in the same weekend. So University of Delaware, the only school this past weekend with Nolan Henderson and Joe Flacco. An interesting statistic there. But give me the Bengals. I don't know if I have a reason for it. I just don't see them falling 0-3. They're going to go on the road here. The Jets, after a big comeback win, 31-30 over the Browns in the fourth quarter, a very eventful game on Sunday. I think a little bit of a letdown game here for the Jets. I do think it'll be a little bit closer, though, but give me the Bengals in this one. Let's head over to the NFC South. Jason, a team that you're fond of, that's the New Orleans Saints. They're going on the road to play the Carolina Panthers. Saints, small favorites on the road here, 2.5, but they've been dealing with some injuries. Jameis Winston playing with 4 fractured ribs in his back. He was sacked 6 times, I believe, on Sunday. No Alvin Kamara last week dealing with that rib injury. He's questionable for this Sunday. How do you see this NFC South matchup going?
It's going to be sloppy. It's going to be a sloppy game. But I still think the Saints come out on top at least by a field goal. It's just going to be a sloppy game. I mean, Carolina is going to give a great effort, but Matt Rule's in the hot seat.
Oh, yeah.
So
he was on the hot seat at the end of last year, back on it this year. Give me the Saints with you. I'm going to go with the Saints in this one. I think in the pre-show meeting, I believe I had the Panthers. We're going to switch. I'm going with the Saints here on the road in Carolina. Jaguars and Chargers, an interesting one here as we begin the 405 slate, Jason. The Jaguars, big win, shutting out the Matt Ryan Indianapolis Colts last week. Now they got to go on the road to L.A. and take on a banged-up Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Huge favorites at home, 7 points for L.A. Jaguars give them a run for their money this week?
Run for their money, but Chargers, he got to win still. But I want to know how long Justin Herbert plays in this game.
So you're saying get up early, take him out, or you think the pain going to make him come out?
I think if he gets hit a few more times, it might take him out.
And again, fractured rib cartilage heals a little bit slower, a little bit more complicated than bone injuries.
You don't want to risk a season over a career. And that injury like that, if it lingers, it's a thing.
And he looked in a lot of pain in that game last Thursday.
He couldn't really throw.
No. It took all of them to get that last touchdown
He couldn't really throw. You saw the motion. He was laboring the rest of the game. So I know there's going to be some cortisone shots, things of that nature in the flap jacket, but I'm concerned about his injury. I really am.
Again, so we're both going to go with the Chargers here over Jacksonville, but definitely something to keep an eye out going forward. Rams and the Cardinals. Let's head over to the NFC West. Super Bowl champs able to get their first win of the season last week by holding on at home to beat the Atlanta Falcons. Now they head to Glendale to take on the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals a huge comeback win last week after trailing 20-0 on the road in Las Vegas. Does that win kind of jack up the Cardinals a little bit here, Jason? Kind of maybe after that tough opening week loss where they looked just absolutely horrible. It lasted for another half in week number 2. But does that comeback win kind of propel the Cardinals here into week number 3?
Not this game. Not this game. They're still playing against the defending Super Bowl champions. Not this game.
Going with the Rams?
Going with the Rams. And they used Allen Robinson last week. Going with the Rams.
And of course now Kyler Murray's had a whole week to play Call of Duty. I think it's going to be a little bit worse this time around. He's been up all night, all week. We both know that. Give me the Rams.
He's studying.
Give me the Rams on the road. Let's jump to maybe the worst game of the week. That's the Atlanta Falcons and Seattle Seahawks. We don't pull any punches here on DETV. We're going to tell you like it is. The Falcons 0-2, Seattle 1-1, and that first win of the season, kind of a emotional, miraculous win at Russell Wilson or at home against the Denver Broncos. Geno came back to earth down last week. Still doesn't look too bad, though. It's Mariota versus Geno. What a matchup, Jason.
Yeah, this was NCAA 17.
Yes.
Yeah, something like that. West Virginia versus Oregon, but this is not West Virginia versus Oregon. So
it would be a good game back then.
It would be. That would have been a great game back then.
That would have been a great game.
They might have actually played back then if you think about it, but I would say this game, will the real Kyle Pitts please stand up?
I want you to say it again because you looked into that camera on Monday and you asked for Devontae Smith and he did. Do it for me again. Give me some Kyle Pitts here, please.
Will the real Kyle Pitts please stand up? Where are you? We need you to show up. You were all the hoopla, all the fanfare coming in as a rookie, a decent rookie season. Sophomore season is normally better, so we need you to step up. And fantasy owners are asking you for that too, just saying.
Kyle Pitts, come on, baby, I need you. Got the jersey at home again, a Florida Gator, close to home, and my heart is Kyle Pitts. But I'm with you, Jason. You got it. I mean, again, it's not all his fault. Mariota needs to get him the ball. Arthur Smith needs to scheme him open a little bit. Not really playing a lot of tight end. He's playing a lot in the slot, out wide at wide receiver. So it's going to be interesting to see how they utilize him. But that's been the talk the last 2 weeks is get him the ball. I think we see it a little bit more this week, though. And I feel better about it after you said it on camera because it worked for Devontae Smith on Monday. So let's keep that going. Falcons or Seahawks, though? Who do you got? This one's almost a pick 'em.
It is a pick 'em. I'm just going to watch the game. I have no pick.
No pick.
I have no pick.
I don't know if that's ever happened. No pick. Give me the Falcons on the road. I love Drake London and Kyle Pitts. It's going to be a tough one. You're right. It's a pick-em game. Give me the Falcons.
It's in Seattle too. Ooh,
that's tough.
You know
the
what?
12th man.
I'll take the 12th man.
Talk the 12th man.
I'll take the Seahawks with the 12th man.
And again, fun fact: they stole that from Texas A&M.
Yes, they did.
The 12th man. They pay them royalties to use the 12th man. I find that whole situation bizarre.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
But let's keep it moving to the Sunday night game, or excuse me, the Fox game of the week, I should say, with the Green Bay Packers and Dennis's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady looking to get back on track. Aaron Rodgers threw 2 last week. Didn't look, though, obviously, as Aaron Rodgers does. It was an Aaron Jones game for them in the win over the Bears. These two guys go at it almost, it seems like, every year. The Bucs 2-0, the Packers 1-1. This is going to be a good one at 4 o'clock. Another almost pick-em game. Bucs are at home. Brady versus Rodgers. Who you going with, Jason?
Tom Brady owns Aaron Rodgers. He's 3-1 lifetime versus Aaron Rodgers. Taking Brady and the Bucs again.
Brady and the Bucs for me as well. We're on the same page there. Bucs improved to 3-0. Let's jump to the Sunday night football game. 49ers at the Broncos. An interesting one here. I like it. Broncos underdogs at home from the Jimmy Garoppolo 49ers. Just a point as it stands right now. Niners, first game with Jimmy Garoppolo back as the starter. A lot of word from San Francisco is a lot of those veterans are happy with that result. Denver, Russell Wilson hasn't really looked like himself through 2 weeks. We talked about it on Monday. How do you see this one playing out at Mile High Stadium?
Broncos get the win at home.
They would need, this would be a big win for them. They need this one.
They get a win at home. They get a win at home. They need this win, they still have all the pieces to still be a contender. They have the pieces, they're just not putting them together right now. But I believe it starts Sunday.
And I think it starts with Nathaniel Hackett. I'm just not sure how much confidence I have in the former Green Bay Packer offensive coordinator. This is another good one. I'm with you. I think the Broncos have to win this game. I think this is a huge game for the rest of their season going forward. I know that's crazy to say through week 3. But if you drop this one to the Niners, you lose to the Seahawks, and then almost lose that game last week to the Texans, I feel like there'd be a very uphill climb there for Denver going forward. But with all that being said, give me the 49ers and Jimmy Garoppolo. But I think this game is way more important to Denver than it is for San Francisco. But again, this one very close. Give me the Niners, though, on the road. I just think they're a better team right now. I think they're going to rally with this new Jimmy Garoppolo offense going forward. But I can't reiterate it enough. This is a huge game for Denver.
Huge game for Denver. That's why I think we'll see the Russell Wilson of old and not old Russell Wilson.
And if he does do that, then you're okay. Okay, you can take a deep breath as a Denver Bronco fan. Okay, here we are at week 3. He looked himself. We can go forward. But if something similar to the first 2 weeks happens again here Sunday night and he looks a little iffy for the 3rd week in a row, you starting to worry a little bit?
I would worry about the team. I wouldn't worry about Russell Wilson per se. I just think
we'll talk team here.
It's play calling right now. Like it's really literally play calling. I don't understand it.
And again, if I want to get this camera on me real quick, Dennis, I'm going to do the same thing I did Monday. Free Javonte Williams. My goodness, if he doesn't get 15 to 20 touches a game, what are we doing? Free Javonte Williams is one of the best backs in the league. I don't care if you throw it to him, hand it to him, just give him the ball in Denver. I love you, Melvin Gordon. You're playing pretty well. You're playing well. But Javonte Williams is the next big thing. Him and DeAndre Swift going to take this league over in a little while. So we'll keep it moving there. I got the Niners. You got the Broncos. Monday Night Football, Jason. We're going to round it here before we dive into our Thursday preview. Giants and the Cowboys. Cooper Rush versus Daniel Jones in prime time on Monday night. Does that get you as excited as it does me?
Sensational. No, it doesn't.
I think there going to be some. I'll tell you what, the Cooper Rush played well last week.
Cooper Rush is playing. He plays well when he comes in spurts.
He managed the game.
I think this game is more important for Dallas than it is for the Giants right now.
I agree.
But I do think the Giants will actually win the game.
I think they could. Again, this one to pick them as it stands right now. The Giants 2-0 under new head coach Brian Daboll. I don't know how they're doing it. We talked about it on Monday. I forget what the topic on the headline was, but somehow the Giants are 2-0. They get the Cooper Rush-led Cowboys. Today, Jerry Jones saying on his radio show the goal is to have Cooper Rush play so well that in a few weeks they have to make a hard decision if they want to bring Dak Prescott back. You know how Jerry Jones is trying to get in the media. What do you think about that one? Maybe Cooper Rush going to be the starter for Dallas for the years to come?
It's Jerry Jones, man. I always expect some foolishness to come out of his mouth. You know, that they haven't been an American team since '95. You know, let's just put it out there. American team's been the Patriots the last 20 plus years.
Crazy that they haven't been that good in so long.
They haven't been that good. Was two playoff wins since 1997?
Yeah, I think it's 96, 97. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
That's tough. That's tough. We feel for you, Dallas fans. There, I'm gonna go with. You go with the Giants, right? You went the Giants.
That was a struggle for you. Y'all picked the Cowboys. Can you pick this game anyway, being that's your division? Can you really pick this with any
You know what? I am. Give me the Cowboys at Cooper Rush.
Okay.
To me, again, this one could go either way. It's a coin flip, but I think Micah Parsons on the defensive side of the ball. Again, he's banged up, dealing with a flu, I think, as well this week. If he's able to be healthy, 100% close to it, he's going to wreak havoc. I think Daniel Jones may fumble 4 times in this game.
Did we talk about the Starship Troopers versus the Eagles on Sunday?
No, not yet. Not yet. We have not gotten to this one. That's the one before we dive in. That's actually a good point, Jason. Let's roll right into that one. Cowboys and Giants. We're going to split there. Let's talk about it. The Eagles heading to FedEx Field in D.C. to take on a player that they know very well and that is Carson Wentz. Head coach Nick Sirianni saying this week that they're trying to get as much information as they can from all the players that played with him. They're going to use, what they have to their advantage. Carson Wentz, pretty good through the first 2 weeks. Some garbage time statistics in there last week. In week number 2, they went down big early. But overall, not having a bad season so far for the quarterback for the Commanders. Eagles, Washington. Eagles go on the road, still big favorites here. Are they going to be challenged?
No.
Blowout for the Birds?
I think it's going to be, because they know Carson so well.
What's he going to do, 4 or 5 turnovers? You think he's good for a few crazy-looking sacks?
I think this is one of the games that he can't avoid, and it's going to be a bad day for them. On HBCU Day, by the way, at FedEx Field.
Oh, wow. There you go.
They're going to take us for that. So it's HBCU Day at FedEx Field. Commanders versus the Eagles. But, yeah, it's going to be all Philly all day. Give
me the Eagles in this one. I'm with you. But I've been impressed with the Commanders have been able to do offensively. The last couple of years was the defense. Defense has really fallen off. I mean, coming into last year, they were ranked as one of the top defenses, and they absolutely did not live up to that expectation. Not off to a great start here in 2022. So both of us are going with the Birds in that one. That rounds up our Week 3 matchups. We got, again, a little bit of time here, about 15 minutes to dive in to this Steelers-Browns Thursday night game. Just a reminder for everyone at home, wherever you're watching us, this game is on Amazon Prime.
It's the worst.
You need Amazon Prime.
It is the worst.
So contact your cousins, your aunts and uncles if you don't have it. Make sure you can get an account. Great broadcast, I thought, from them last week.
Somebody's password, but Amazon is not the look.
It's great to see Al Michaels again calling some games, just in a different network. That is.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Don't like it. You're not.
I am not a fan of football on Amazon Prime. I'm not.
Is it just because of the accessibility, or do you not like the crew?
It's the accessibility. I'm not a fan.
I'm with you. I don't think some people, not do they only have Amazon, they don't even know how to access.
And their camera angles are kind of weird too.
They're trying different stuff. You can tell. Record-breaking audience though for them last week. Broke some records number-wise.
They're using XFL cameras or something. I don't know what it is. Like it's hard to watch.
I will great to see Al Michaels back.
Al Michaels,
it's the same
legend.
thing I hate about the Apple TV baseball games. I hate that too. They're doing that this year, where only some games are strictly on Apple TV Plus. And they're having that issue this week. I know we're switching total topics here, Dennis. But Aaron Judge, going for the home run record, that game tomorrow night, I believe, is on Apple TV Plus. So the Yankees home broadcasters can't even do the game if he hits his 61st or 62nd home run. They can't even call it because it's strictly on Apple TV Plus. So history is going to be made not with the home broadcast team.
I've been to the home.
They're trying to work their way into this Apple TV broadcast. Yeah. They're talking. We'll see how it goes. Back to football, though. Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Cleveland both 1-1 heading into this contest here tonight. Pittsburgh 38-9-1 since the Browns returned to the NFL in 1999, the regular season. It doesn't get much worse than that if you're a Cleveland fan. This is the first time they're going to be playing, though, with no Big Ben since 2004. So it's going to be a different game as you're watching it from a fan's perspective.
Do you know who the last matchup was without Ben? It was Tommy Maddox versus Tim Couch.
Wow. How about those two quarterbacks? What are they doing right now? What are those two guys up to right now on a Thursday night? So also, interestingly enough, Jason Brissett has never beaten Pittsburgh, and Mitchell Trubisky has never lost to Cleveland. So interesting statistics there for both of these quarterbacks with their new teams. The Steelers have never, though, beaten the Browns in Cleveland on a Thursday. So there's a bunch of different things to throw into this one. One of these is coming to an end tonight. The Steelers' last 3 regular season games have been decided by exactly 3 points. So 3 games in a row, the first 2 to start this year, the last one to end the regular season last year. Minka Fitzpatrick, a pick in both games this season. Just before we dive into some of these other statistics, Jason, what are you looking for tonight in this AFC North battle?
I'm looking for a running game tonight. I'm looking for Chubb and Hunt to have monster games. And I'm looking for David Njoku to have a good game tonight at tight end.
Is that going to be your sleeper player to watch?
Sleeper tonight, X Factor, David Njoku.
There you go. I agree with that one. Let's talk about Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Chubb, 228 yards and 3 touchdowns through 2 games, 5.8 yards per carry. Kareem Hunt, 104 yards and a touchdown himself, 4.3 yards per carry for Kareem Hunt. Brissett has thrown for more yards than Mitch Trubisky through the 2 games, 376 to 362. They both have 2 touchdowns and an interception. But listen to Brissett and Nick Chubb, some of these statistics for them through 2 weeks. They have 54% of the team's points in general, just those two backs, as well as 51% of the total yards from scrimmage. So 51% of the total yards from scrimmage for the year have gone to Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. I mean, how one-dimensional can you be, right? If you're the Steelers, you got to put 8 or 9 guys in the box.
And then you leave Amari Cooper one-on-one, and that's still a bad thing to do because he had a great game last week.
I mean, yeah, in a comeback game, we'll talk to him about him here in a little bit. Browns over 200 yards per game as a team on the ground in the first two. You mentioned
number one in the league already.
The run is going to be, number one by far. I think the only other team to have that many rushing yards through 2 games.
Who is it?
2019 Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson MVP year.
MVP year.
So again, they could run the ball. Obviously, you knew that's what they were going to try to do with Jacoby Brissett coming into this year. Again, maybe on paper you're going Trubisky versus Brissett. And a lot of people thinking this might not be the most exciting Thursday night football game. But the Steelers are going to have to stop the run. And if you're the Browns, what do you got to do to limit that Pittsburgh offense?
You have to get to Trubisky early.
He can make mistakes at pressure.
You get to him early so you don't have Deontay Johnson and Claypool and Najee Harris, everybody running wild. You got to hit Trubisky and hit him early and often.
And Jason, Mitch Trubisky, another stat for you, 32nd in the NFL in yards per attempt. They are just not throwing the ball downfield. Offensive coordinator Matt Canada taking a lot of heat this week, second year in the role for Pittsburgh. We're seeing, what we saw out of Ben Roethlisberger the last 2 years. The big thing was, Big Ben can't throw. The ghost of Ben Roethlisberger, screens, 5-yard throws. They're doing it all over again with Mitchell Trubisky. Was it Ben or is it Matt Canada on the offense?
Matt Canada should be back in college. It's Matt Canada. I don't like the.
So much hype coming into the NFL, and it's been horrible.
It's been unproven. It's been unproven.
Not even a smidge of anything through 2 years.
Nothing. They live and die by the run.
And that's with a second half of the league offensive line. I mean, I don't know what the answer is for the offense in Pittsburgh. I think, though, if it were me, and I think you feel the same way, 1 or 2 more games, and I'm all in on Kenny Pickett. Just like we talked about Malik Willis, I think this one comes earlier.
Yeah, Kenny Pickett? I don't know. Tomlin's kind of loyal to his guys.
No doubt. You're right. I agree I think he's going to do that, but if it were me, I'd go Kenny Pickett. What do you think?
I would go Mason Rudolph before I go Kenny Pickett.
Really?
Because the reason why I say that, Rudolph is actually the person who knows the offense the best.
He's been there the longest.
And I'm not a fan of always throwing rookies into the fire if you don't have to. 1-1, you don't have to rush that kind of thing.
I do feel you on that one a little bit.
Now, we're talking about 0-3, 0-4, 0-5.
And now we're talking
different conversation, but 1-1, no, still a chance. So you kind of pick your poison with Trubisky or Mason Rudolph.
And again, and Myles Garrett tonight, questionable with that neck injury, though he is probably going to play. That is the word from Cleveland. Jadeveon Clowney, he's out with that sprained ankle that he had earlier this year, so he's not going to play. Jack Conklin actually going to make his return tonight, the All-Pro lineman, making his first game since undergoing season-ending surgery back in December. So he's come back. He's not at 100%, but he is going to play tonight.
They'll have more rushing yards.
Joel Bitonio, whatever, who they're off their guard, who's banged up as well. He is going to play, though not at 100%, I believe. So we'll see. Word is he is going to play, but definitely still dealing with his injuries as well on the offensive line. So some injuries for both teams. Cleveland dealing with it a little bit more. Even Brissett got banged up on Sunday, an ankle himself, but no worries there as the quarterback will be ready to go tonight. Keys to the game for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns, Jason.
They have to score first. They literally have to score first.
Pittsburgh or Cleveland?
Pittsburgh has to score first. You need momentum, and they let to ride the coattails of defense. Minkah Fitzpatrick is having another all-pro level season.
Yeah.
And why he's not talked about as the best safety in football bothers me.
He might.
I believe he is.
Again, I believe this statistic, the only other Pittsburgh Steeler to have an interception through the first 2 games this season, Troy Polamalu, back in 2009. So he's been everything the Steelers could have wanted when they made that trade with Miami a couple years ago, giving up just that first-round pick. People questioned, you gave up a first-round pick for Minkah Fitzpatrick on a Miami Dolphins team that was not doing well at the time. And boy, what a win it was for the Steelers. He's been a great.
Way to make a play football in college.
Alabama.
There's a reason why.
He's that good. I love this Minkah Fitzpatrick. I'm going to go, again, for me, it's Pittsburgh. You got to stop the run game, as you mentioned at the top of the preview there. You got to slow down that offensive well, obviously the offensive line is dealing with injuries, but Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, they're going to get the ball, they're going to get it off, and they're going to work the play action off of that. Make sure you're ready for that run game. You got to slow down Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. That's number one. And if you're Cleveland, again, as you mentioned, I'm going to agree with both your keys to the game. You got to put pressure on Mitchell Trubisky. Not that you have to, but if you make him uncomfortable, he's going to make mistakes. We've seen it year in and year out. 32nd, as we just alluded to, in pass yards per attempt.
That means last.
That's
means
last.
Every quarterback, every team in the NFL, he's the worst.
Dead last.
With yards per attempt right now, the worst. Okay.
My goodness. Again, hopefully Matt Canada and them figured this out. A lot of talk all week. They've been hounding that offense all week in Pittsburgh. What can we expect? Why aren't you doing necessarily things? They said they're going to open it up tonight. That's what we're hearing. George Pickens, Mitch Trubisky said, I got to do a better job of getting him the ball. He's been open, the rookie from Georgia. We'll see if it happens tonight. You gave us your sleeper player to watch. Who's your main X-Factor player to watch tonight? I know you want David Njoku as your sleeper.
Sleeper, X-Factor tonight. I'm going to go with the Steelers defense. If they play Steelers defense like we know they can, they win this game. However, I really don't have them win this game. I have the Browns. I don't have the Steelers win this game.
Again, we'll talk about that here in a second. My player to watch or X factor here in this one it's Mitchell Trubisky. Here it is. It's time to show up or go home here. Week number 3. We talked about the pass attempts, yardage per attempt. You're 1-1. Honestly, the game against the Bengals in week 1, you should have no business losing that game. You forced 5 turnovers and win in overtime. That's ridiculous. And then last week against the Patriots, we'll talk about these fourth quarters. Patriots held the ball for 12 minutes and 19 seconds in the fourth quarter. I mean, that's just unacceptable for Pittsburgh. I think it starts with Trubisky. Get some first downs, get into a rhythm. Use the run game as well. I know the offensive line isn't great. Najee Harris is a really good player. Get the ball in his hands. But again, you have to throw the ball downfield. You have to throw the ball downfield. And if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan the last 3 years, that's just something you haven't seen.
And Pittsburgh has speed at the receiving position.
One of the best receiving corps in the league.
They have speed. They're one of the fastest for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Deontay, Claypool, Pickens, you got Freiermuth at tight end. They've got pass catchers.
They have pass catchers. They really do. But again, I'm not going to give Steelers too much credit. It's the rival. I'm not going to do that.
That's exactly right. So let's dive into the questions and some over-unders and everything else here as we are, again, about an hour away from kickoff, less than 45 minutes. This game on Amazon Prime. So here we go, Jason. You ready? I'm going to fire some stuff at you.
All right.
Here we go. More passing yards, Mitchell Trubisky or Jacoby Brissett?
Trubisky.
Give me Trubisky. I hope they open it up. More rush yards, Nick Chubb or Najee Harris?
Really? That's a question? Nick Chubb.
I'm going to go with Nick Chubb, too, unfortunately, there. More receiving yards, Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool or Amari Cooper and Peoples-Jones?
This is tough. This one's tough. Well, I did say Trubisky would have more passing yards, so I have to go with the Steelers receiving corps as well.
I'm going Johnson and Claypool, so we are all 3 for 3, us three agreeing on this one. More receptions, more catches and more receptions, just receptions. Deontay Johnson or Amari Cooper, who catches more balls?
Cooper.
Give me Deontay Johnson. More receiving yards, Harrison Bryant or Pat Freiermuth?
Freiermuth.
Give me Freiermuth as well. Passing touchdowns, Brissett or Trubisky?
Trubisky.
Give me Trubisky. They're going to run all those touchdowns in. We all know that. More sacks, though. No Clowney for the Browns, no Watt for the Steelers. Which one? Who more sacks for what defense?
Browns.
Give me... It's tough, though, because Mitch Trubisky's more mobile. The Browns aren't going to throw it as much, and they'll go off the play action. Give me the Browns, too, for more sacks. Will there be a defense or special teams touchdown?
I called it last week, and I got it right. This week,
that's right. You did.
No.
I'm going to say yes, but you're right. You way to nail that one last week. That's a good one.
But who has that? Is it Minka returning a pick?
Yeah, that's what I'm going with. You're right. That's what or a block or something. You know who's going to make a play. You got me. Yep, that's what I'm going with. Here we go. Do we see Kenny Pickett tonight, yes or no?
No, we don't.
I have to say no. As bad as I want to say yes, the answer is going to be no, unfortunately. And here we go. First touchdown player. Who scores the first touchdown tonight?
Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt. I'm going to go with Nick Chubb, but we're both thinking along that Cleveland Brown run game for sure. Now to keep it moving, some over-unders before we get to our picks. Here we go. Let's start with the actually, this one's in general, Steelers and Browns. For the game, Jason, shortest touchdown over-under is 1.5 yards. You going under or over?
Under.
Going 1 yard touchdown
1 yard
tonight?
touchdown.
Give me, I'm going to go 2. I think they are. Pass interference in the end zone. Nick Chubb or somebody pounds it in from a yard out. Give us the under there. Mitchell Trubisky, 193.5 pass yards.
Over.
You like Trubisky tonight, huh?
Numbers don't always win games, but
Oh, no doubt. I'm just saying.
yeah,
I don't know if he hasn't done that so far this year.
I like over. Because there's going to be a focus on getting the ball down the field, like you said. Talking about the offense all
You're right.
long
A lot of talk this week. You talked
Yeah.
me into it. Give me the over, though. I'm not happy about it. Najee Harris, 54.5 rush yards.
Is he healthy?
He's.
I mean, I know he's playing, but is he healthy?
That's what we don't know. As far as I'm concerned,
I'll go over, but it won't be by much.
I'm going to go under, but that is going to be a close one. And Deontay Johnson, 5.5 catches.
That's where he's going to be.
5 or 6,
Push.
though.
Push.
Can't push 5.5.
Okay. Over. I guess that's
Over. Give him 6.
Because it's going to be 6, yeah, right.
You know what? I'll
6.
give him 6 too. Give me the over there as well. And now Boswell, 5.5 points. You think Chris Boswell can knock home 5.5 totals? You went over would be 6, under would be 5.
Over.
Over
Boswell's
for Boswell.
a great kicker. So over.
Longest touchdown in the game for both teams, 36.5 yards.
Ooh, over.
Over. Give me the over there, too. Let's have a big play tonight in this one.
Over.
Play action over the top. Now to the Browns. Jacoby Brissett, 180.5 yards.
Over.
Nick Chubb, 86.5 rush yards.
Over.
Give me the over on Brissett. Give me the over on Chubb. You're right. Kareem Hunt, 45.5.
Over.
Over. God, this is the way we're talking. I mean, we're expecting the Browns to run all over Pittsburgh here. Amari Cooper receiving yards, 48.5.
Over.
Give me the under. I don't like
Wow.
saying it. I know, right? I don't like saying it. That's 1 or 2 passes to Amari Cooper necessarily.
Yeah,
we could have 2 big ones and go over.
Wow.
I'm going to go against the grain here. We've been agreeing a lot. Give me the under. Cade York, 6.5 points for their kicker, a point more than Boswell.
Over as well.
Over?
I mean, that's 2 extra points in the field goal, essentially. So, you know.
There you go. Cade York, give me the over. I think there'll be a lot of field goals in this one. Give me the over on Cade York. Here we go. Our picks, Browns and the Steelers. We're not going to go with the line. We're going to pick straight up. The line, though, sitting at 4.5 points for Cleveland at home. We will pick the over-under, though. It's set at a very low 38. Very low.
I'll take the over on that.
Taking the over. It's low.
I'll take the over on
I
that.
think it's going to be a very low-scoring game.
I'll take the over on it.
Over, and you're going with the Browns to win.
Yes.
Give me the Steelers. I'm going to go with the Steelers against Jason again today, but give me the Steelers on the road.
Taking the under?
Give me the over. Okay. Give me the over. I'm going to go the over. We'll come back here Monday. It'll be an awful, boring game, and we can talk about it on Monday. But like, Nick, you were way wrong. But I'm optimistic right now. Kickoff's not, for another 40 minutes. Give me the over. Let's score some points tonight on Amazon. What do you say?
They need some points.
They need to score some points. Dennis, he is going with the Browns as well at home. So Dennis and Jason are on the Browns. I'm on the Steelers for tonight. Jason, we went through everything. We gave our picks, over-unders, some fourth quarter stats for you. Both of these teams have not been good in the fourth quarter, so this fourth quarter could determine it. Week 1, the Browns led the Panthers 20-7. They held on 26-24. Week 2, they went down 3 points in the fourth, took a 13-point lead with 2 minutes, and lost. So an insane fourth quarter for the Browns in 2 weeks. The Steelers, also insane. Week 1 almost blew a huge lead to the Bengals after forcing 5 turnovers. They get forced to overtime. They somehow win. Then in week 2, as I mentioned, the Pats controlled the ball for 12 minutes and 19 seconds. Both of these teams struggling in the fourth quarter. That could be a key to the game as well tonight. But I'm going Steelers. Jason's going with the Browns. And Dennis is going with the Browns as well. Jason, any last words before we head out and get ready for some Thursday night football?
Enjoy football. All I can say is enjoy it. Try to give Amazon Prime a chance, but
I tell you, Kirk Cousins doing some NFL games. It feels a little funny.
It's weird. It's so weird. It
is.
I'm used to him,
And I think they kind of almost got into a little
weird.
scuffle last week. I think Kirk said something about Al doing those games back in the 60s or 70s, and I think Al Michaels took offense to it. I think did you ever hear that? I thought they were going. I think Kirk was just trying to be nice, but I think Al took it the wrong way. Either way, something to pay attention to tonight.
You know what? I do have something to say. I just thought about it.
There we go. Put the camera on Jason.
I'm calling out all sports networks, all broadcasts. The Brett Favre situation needs to be in the news. This man stole $5 million of welfare money from the state of Mississippi to build a volleyball stadium. No go. Needs to be in the news. Needs to be highlighted. This is a sham. It's a travesty. It's despicable. It's disgusting. There's so many other negative adjectives that I could describe, but it needs to be in the news. We're talking about other things in sports news. This needs to be in the sports news and regular news every day until something is done about it.
Again, I haven't heard anything on it since the accusations or anything. No word from anybody over there. But you're right. There's been some other stuff in the news that everybody's talking about today. We're an NFL theme, so we won't mention it, obviously. But yeah, it's a little funny. I haven't heard that in the last couple days. So again, we'll see if we get any updates from down in Mississippi here as we progress into next week. But Jason, fantastic show today ahead of the Steelers and Browns. Should be a good one for Nick Alessandrini, Jason McCall, and of course the great Dennis Pritchard. We will see you on Monday. Check out Amazon tonight.